Hi, my name's Amelia and today I'm going to be reviewing Tabacon Thermal Resort and Spa in La Fortuna, Costa Rica. So after a 3-hour drive from the airport, check-in was pretty quick and fast, which I really appreciated. Also liked getting these little wristbands which open the door to your hotel room. I actually preferred this because it meant if we then ended up going to the thermal springs, we weren't going to lose our keys. They picked us up after check-in and took us straight to our room, which was on the ground floor. Now, I don't actually remember what room I booked, but I booked the cheapest at the time, and I wasn't expecting anything too amazing, but the room was actually really nice, and also really clean. You get all the basics you would do in any hotel room: slippers, towels. I actually probably could have done with a few more towels. There's also a hairdryer in there, and then there's dual sinks, one for him, one for her. And I don't know why there's this towel in the sink, that was already there when I got there, but anyway. They'll also give you drinking water, like 1 bottle. I actually ended up drinking through this, and then the next day they'd give me 2 bottles. If I finished that, they'd give me 3, so I really appreciated that. The shower was great, no problems there, but I always do like a shower that has kind of like a handheld part to it, just because, like I said, I have really long hair and I don't always want to get it wet. For some reason I booked a room with 2 beds, but that's great, more space. They also have the sliding door on the bathroom, so if you want more lighting or you just want to see out, I guess you can keep that open if you like. There's also space for 2 suitcases, which is so handy because it meant I didn't have to put 1 suitcase on the floor. There's also a safe, and inside the wardrobe there are 2 robes, and you will need these robes if you decide to go and visit the spa. Like I mentioned before, the rooms are really clean, but you will sometimes get insects. I mean, one time we came in and there was a cricket on the floor. I think it must have just come in when maybe the cleaners are cleaning the room, but you know, it's Costa Rica, it's gonna happen. There's also this little small kind of mini fridge, kitchen-y area where you can have tea or coffee. There is also a fridge, and everything in the fridge isn't free, you do have to pay for it. Now I'll show you what the view was like outside the room. I had to film this on a different day because I didn't want to open it on the first day in case I accidentally let a load of bugs in. The garden was really cute, but I didn't actually spend any time out there. On a clear day you can see Arenal volcano, but for now, as you can see, it's pretty misty. The garden is shared by a few rooms, but I never actually saw anybody out there. They also gave us some cute welcome fudge, and every room has an iPad. This is so useful because you can book all your restaurant bookings through the iPad. Also gives you information about the hotel and maps too. On the point of food, let's talk about what food was like at this hotel. Breakfast was included with the price of my room. Breakfast was great actually, there was everything you needed: eggs, bacon, sausages. They also had some really good fruit, so if you do get a chance, make sure you try the pineapple because that was the absolute best. Breakfast was never particularly busy and everything was always restocked. I think there's just something for everyone. Breakfast was always served at Los Tucanes, don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but that's also where we headed one night for dinner. Now Los Tucanes tends to be a bit more fancy than the other restaurant, which is located on the springs side. Look how bonito my dessert looks. There's also Avi, I'm not sure how you say it, restaurant located at Tabacon Springs, and I headed there a couple of times just because it's a bit more casual dining. The food there was also really good too, but again, it's not cheap for what you get. The restaurants serve things like burgers and pastas and also some Costa Rican food. I also ate at the Shangri-La Gardens bar. This again is at the Springs, and this is exclusively for hotel guests only, and it's quite a nice menu. It's really good if you just want a few nibbles. I just wanted to mention the grounds of Tabacon as well. Their gardens are just so beautifully manicured all the time. They must put so much effort into them. And you can also see some really amazing flowers just as you're walking around. I'd never actually seen any of these before ever in my life, so I just thought they were absolutely beautiful. There's also a hotel gym if you feel like you need to use it. And then there's also a gift shop where you can buy things like coffee and chocolate. Let's talk about the springs. Now don't forget to grab your robes if you do intend on going there, and there's 2 ways to get there. So you can either take the Tabacon transfer, which takes about 1 to 2 minutes from the hotel straight to the springs, or you can just decide to walk there. If you choose to walk, it's around a 10 to 12 minute walk, I would say. A part of it is on the road, and then the second part of it is kind of under this little shelter, but it looks really pretty. The walk is downhill, so it's quite easy to do it on the way there, but I probably wouldn't want to do it on the way back, especially if you're soaking wet. There are also changing rooms and lockers. If you do need to get a key for a locker, the first thing you need to do is go pick up your towels and then tell them you want a locker too, and then they will assign you one. The changing rooms were pretty clean. There's toilets and there's showers, and I put my stuff in the locker and it was completely safe. There are also pools at Tabacon Springs if you don't fancy going in the hot springs. Every time I went to the pool though, it was really busy, which actually surprised me because more people seemed to want to hang out there than in the actual springs. I personally think the springs were absolutely amazing though, and there's so many of them. And because the place is so big, it's very easy to just have like one small pool or even one rather large hot spring all to yourself. Finding a sunbed was pretty hard because most of them were taken or they were pretty gross. I wasn't really going there to lounge around anyway, so I ended up just leaving my stuff in a corner and going in the springs. It's also so slippy under the water, so definitely bring sea shoes. As mentioned before, Shangri-La Gardens is an exclusive area just for hotel guests. There's more seating, there's more day beds, there's more sunbeds, and you can also order drinks and food separately at this little bar. The higher up you go, the hotter the springs get. So some of the springs in the Shangri-La Gardens were so hot I couldn't actually even get into them. I'd also recommend coming to the springs at night time because it was so much more beautiful, especially with all the steam. Now back to the hotel. Yes, the hotel actually does have its own pool, which is on the hotel side, although every time I went there it was so quiet. I think that's just because everyone tends to hang out at the springs. I did find that the lifeguard wasn't really doing his job though. Can you see him? There are a lot of animals at Tabacon, so do be prepared.
What you should have done...
There is another one!
Alright, so if you walk along that side, you might...
Look at this little fella. But no, in all seriousness, if you'd like to see what I got up to in terms of excursions while I stayed at this hotel, then do check out my other video on La Fortuna. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy your time at Tabacon Springs.